All right, guys, I'm going to read to you The Little Red Fort. This is one of our Sunshine State books. So remember, these are the ones you're going to get to vote on. I know that Miss Ricardo's class and Miss Geider's class have read different books. I know that we each had some parents come in and read some books. So if you're in Miss Ricardo's class and you've already heard one of the books that I'm reading, you don't have to listen to it. I mean, you can if you want. There's nothing wrong with listening to a book twice, but I'm just saying that you might see a book you've already heard before. Okay, but my class I know has not read this book. It's called The Little Red Fort, and it is by Brenda Mayer, pictures by Sonia Sanchez. Okay, The Little Red Fort. Title page is The Little Red Fort. Ruby's mind was always full of ideas. She's sitting on the toilet, silly girl. One day she found some old boards. Who wants to help me build something? She asked her brothers. Oscar Lee pretended not to hear her. Rodrigo gave her a look that could melt popsicles. Jose almost fell off the fence. You don't know how to build anything, they said. Ruby shrugged. Then I'll learn. And she did. Who wants to help me draw the plans? Ruby asked. The boys clutched their sides and howled with laughter. Not me, said Oscar Lee. I don't think so, said Rodrigo. No way, said Jose. I'm too busy. Fine, said Ruby. Then I'll draw them myself. And she did. Satisfied with her plans, Ruby asked, who wants to help me gather the supplies? Not me, said Oscar Lee. I don't think so, said Rodrigo. No way, said Jose. I'm too busy. Fine, said Ruby. I'll gather them myself. And she did. When all the supplies were gathered, Ruby asked, who wants to help me cut the boards? Not me, said Oscar Lee. I don't think so, said Rodrigo. No way, said Jose. I'm too busy. Fine, said Ruby. I'll cut them myself. And she did. When all the boards were neatly cut, Ruby sang, who wants to help me hammer in the nails? Not me, said Oscar Lee. I don't think so, said Rodrigo. No way, said Jose. I'm too busy. Fine, said Ruby. I'll hammer them myself. And she did. Soon, Ruby's creation was complete. Who wants to play in my fort? She called. Me, said Oscar Lee. Let's go, said Rodrigo. I'll play, said Jose. I'm not busy anymore. Not so fast, Ruby said. You didn't help me draw the plans or gather the supplies or cut the boards or hammer the nails. You said I didn't know how to build and you laughed at me. I'm going to play in the fort by myself. And she did. We didn't want to play anyway, said the boys. But they did. So they huddled, whispered, and got straight to work. Oscar Lee made a mailbox, Rodrigo planted flowers, and Jose painted the fort fire engine red. Ruby was delighted. That evening, the boys followed a delicious aroma to the fort warming party. Who wants to help me clean this plate? Ruby asked. We do, said the boys. And they did. In the back, it has a little diagram of how to build a fort on your own. You could build a sofa fort. You could build a kitchen chair fort. You could build a snow fort. Probably not in Florida. You could build a bunk bed fort. I'm going to read the author's note because as I was reading this, it kind of reminded me of a different book. I wonder if you guys have read The Little Red Hen before, because that's what this book made me think of. So I'm going to read this real quick. Author's note. The Little Red Fort is based on the classic folktale, The Little Red Hen. A few years ago, The Little Red Hen was the only story my youngest son wanted to hear. About the same time, my other children found some spare boards and lattice, which they used to construct a little fort in the backyard. Both of these ideas swirled together in my head and became this story. The Little Red Hen is a folktale, a story passed down orally. For this reason, it is difficult to tell who first recorded it. Different versions of the story were published in Irish and American magazines and books of short stories in the early 1860s. The first version of this story would seem very familiar to you and was published in 1874 by a U.S. magazine called St. Nicholas. I actually own a copy of the first picture book version of The Little Red Hen. It was published in 1918, so people have been reading it for a century. The Little Red Fort pays homage to the classic tale and commemorates its 100th anniversary in picture book form. I love reading different versions of the story and discovering which parts of the original the author changed. Like snowflakes, no two retellings are just alike. A few of my favorites are The Little Red Hen by Paul Guloni, The Little Red Hen by Byron Burton, The Little Red Hen Makes a Pizza by Philemon Sturgis and Amy Wallard, Manana Iguana by Ann Whitford Paul and Ethan Long, and The Little Red Henry by Linda Urban and Madeline Valentine. What's your favorite? This is one of the second grade standards, actually. You guys know this because we've done this before, but comparing and contrasting two different versions of the same story. We did that with The Tortoise and the Hare, remember? So that's just another version of Little Red Hen. That one's called The Little Red Fort. I hope you liked it. Bye, guys.